What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. And in this video, I kind of just want to have a discussion about PlayStation's Twitter community and really just what's been going on so far this week and what could still, I guess, potentially happen later this week in terms of PlayStation. The only reason I say PlayStation is because that seems to be the central theme of the week from the insiders and from people that at least think that they know something, right? Or we believe they know something online. Okay, so it's not like a PlayStation versus Xbox, nothing like that. So this whole week really, and I kind of want to say something first too, just so I don't kind of forget about it, in terms of, well, this is the last week of March, so I feel like there's still kind of that residue or, whatever from the past several weeks where we thought there could be a big PlayStation event. Now, for me, Hogwarts Legacy was about the best you could ever hope for, or I could ever hope for, right? But for people that are not into Hogwarts Legacy or whatever, and I think from the factual evidence or just facts in general, a Hogwarts Legacy state of play is not the same thing as a big PlayStation showcase where you show PSVR 2 and you show God of War and you show this, new games we haven't seen in a while, Final Fantasy 16, etc., right? They're not the same thing. Now, Hogwarts is everything I could have hoped for, but they're not the same thing. So I think there's still some of that we were told by many people that March was going to be that month. Now, we were also told from some that maybe it got pushed into April or whatever, but the hype train is always moving, and the hype train seemed pretty high on this week, right? Greg Miller tweeted out a few days ago that if one of the three, stories, we just talked about this. We talked about this on Monday, that this could be a big week for PlayStation, and so far, here we are on Wednesday. Now, I guess it's, I'm looking at the clock, I guess it's still possible we get something today, but I mean, history tells us that normally Sony and a lot of companies normally do announcements in the morning. They don't do them later on in the day. So in terms of a state of play or a PlayStation showcase, I think we're too far in the day for that to happen. Just from kind of history, you could even look at yesterday for Spartacus, or the place that I guess what was known as, but now it's just PlayStation Plus, right? That was announced at 7 a.m. You know what I mean? So it's early. These things happen early. So you have that. But you have just a lot of people. I made the joke on Twitter today talking about my uncle who is not going to be getting a Christmas card this year. He was wrong. What's with all these people? I guess that's a thing I want to talk about as well in this video. Look, it's all in good fun to me. I do cover a lot of leaks. I cover a lot of rumors. I cover a lot of all that stuff. I love covering that on both of my channels. It's a big part of the channel. It's not most of my channel. It's not, it's not 50%. It's not even half, but it's something I really, really enjoy covering, and I would greatly miss if I didn't do it anymore, right? Or if that kind of aspect of gaming went away. I would miss it. But I feel like this week has just been so crazy, specifically each day, we're almost promised individually each day something insane happening. Do you know what I mean? And again, I don't really care. I'll cover things when they happen. I'll cover rumors and leaks when they happen. And if they don't happen, I don't, it's another day. I cover something else. That's how I live my life. I don't know how other people live their lives. But today you had all these people coming out and saying today's the day. It's well, is it? Is it the day? Because I don't see anything happening. Even this gigantic week that we were promised, depending, right, was PlayStation Plus that prompt? Because it's not, PlayStation Plus, that's a big thing. Them having a subscription service that is their rival in a way to the other services out there, right? That is a big deal. But also doesn't come out till June. It wasn't met with the most positive reception of all time, right? It was a big deal, but a PlayStation showcase would be a bigger deal. God of War would be a bigger deal. Them buying from software, while I don't necessarily agree with that, would be a big deal. You know what I mean? Those are, I guess nobody promised us exactly, or nobody said specifically, well, here's the size and scope of the big PlayStation stuff, right? Or PlayStation's announcements. So you have that. The other thing I did want to talk about as well, in terms of just the PlayStation's community being wild this week, is, man, the going back into the PlayStation Plus stuff. I've had enough. Twitter, I've talked about it so many times before. I love Twitter in a lot of ways, and I love my community on Twitter, and Twitter is very important to me in several ways, and important also to kind of the business, not just my business of Podcast Now, but also the business of gaming. I mean, we get a lot of gaming things immediately, right, from Twitter. A lot of the news sometimes that I cover is from, I wouldn't know about it if it wasn't for Twitter. Not not all, maybe even 50-50, right? So like, yeah, so keep that in mind. But at the same time, Twitter is probably the worst thing to ever, to ever be created on planet Earth. It just is. And the things I have noticed over the last couple of days is it's really getting bad. And I guess it's already been bad for a very, very long time. But in terms of even, like, and I say this over and over again, it's like Twitter hears me, shocker, where I always say I don't follow, and I don't, go check, I don't follow anybody that's a console warrior, or at least I don't perceive them that way, and if they are, they're gone, right? So I don't follow anybody who I think is like that, or is outwardly like that, okay? And at the same time, all I get on Twitter, it's like they know, is just these people fighting over and over and over. Rome, Red Dragon. I'm just trying to. I don't know who any of these people are. And again, I always say it. They always only have like 5,000 to 10,000 followers. These people do not have. And again, I'm not one to talk, but I'm saying they're not like the most popular people of all time. They don't have 30, 50, 100,000 followers, right? These are people that come up. They only talk about one side or the other. They backtrack quite often. They have something to say when the other side does something, but then when their side does something, they try to spin it in like a positive way. It's very funny sometimes, and it's very aggravating. I guess what I'm saying is just this is kind of just like my therapy session here for the second half of the video. I'm tired of it. And while I get that PlayStation Plus, those 3 tiers, right? And I made an entire video talking about them. No. Are they the greatest things of all time? No. And I've analyzed it. I've said I like some of it. I don't like some of it. And there's arguments to be made, and there's praise, and there's criticism to go around. Like, all that stuff I agree with. But why do we need to attack? Like, it's been so bad, specifically yesterday and today. Game Pass, while being an amazing service, is one of maybe the worst things to ever happen, because it's created this conversation about buying things and that people don't do that, or they're more into this than that. And then, like, of course, you have to fight because the other side has a service now. Or it's like, please stop. Why does PlayStation Plus, why does it need to compete directly with Game Pass? Now, you could make the argument that I don't think they would have done something like this if Game Pass didn't exist. I'd agree. So in a way, it is it's almost indirect competition, right? Because you're doing it kind of with that in mind, that like, okay, well, they have a service, so we need to have a service. But you're also doing it in a way where, well, we are not directly going after that service. This is not the same service, okay? It's not even really our equivalent of that service. It's a different kind of thing. And again, like, you can criticize that, you can praise that, or you can criticize it in the way where, well, you can say, well, I don't know if this decision is right, or maybe you should build a PS3 emulator, considering that's like all this stuff, right? That's definitely something that they should look into. And instead, what we get is just people, again, they backtrack. It's like, well, you have to make up your mind about buying things and are gamers into day one things or not into day one things. It's awful. And it's not, by the way, don't take this the wrong way. This part of it is not just like focusing solely on the PlayStation community, because there's a lot of opinions on PlayStation Plus versus Game Pass from everybody. This is not just a Sony fanboy problem. At the same time, again, if you are a fanboy, please leave. Please stop and then leave. Or I don't even know, or whichever order you want to do. I could truly care less. It just needs to stop. Twitter, I love it. I have it open on my computer quite often. I go on it too many times a day. But the last couple days, it's been real bad. It's either, again, that's kind of why I want to make this video, because I'm probably going to have a heart attack over this stuff, eventually high blood pressure, because in the last couple days, it's either been, okay, people just talking like they know things that maybe, and I'm not saying, by the way, like Greg Miller is lying or something. Like, I'm just saying, like, he obviously kind of started this with like these announcements, but I'm talking about all the people that just take that and kind of run with it, right? So the past few days for PlayStation specifically has either been this incredible hype and excitement and people running in all these different ways for it, and then arguably nothing really happening so far. They got 2 days left, right? So you have that, and then if it's not that, It's just it's just Game Pass versus PlayStation Plus, and there's nothing else. Nothing else is happening this week. That's another problem. There were games that came out last Friday. None of them really made an impact on anybody, right? Nobody's talking about Tiny Tina. Nobody's talking about Ghostwire Tokyo. Nobody's even really talking about Kirby. And so what we are left with is just hate that Twitter likes to feed off of quite a bit. So let me know what you all think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you all know when these videos go up. If you want to follow me anywhere else, all my social media, as always, is in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.